So if you're...
A storm of historic proportions sweeps up the eastern seaboard, bringing blizzard conditions and heavy snow from the southeast to New England.
We have live team coverage in New York with Jill Brown, and Jeff Morrow reports from Washington, D.C. This is a special edition of Weatherscope this afternoon. Stay with us.
This is a special edition of Weatherscope with the latest winter storm update.
Well, this is definitely one for the record books now. Good evening, Bill Keneally with you in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. Catastrophic, crippling snows continue in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Philadelphia now, a new 24-hour snowfall record, 22.5 inches. It's still coming down at about 2 to 3 inches per hour. New York City, state of emergency. The ball games, the NBA games in the Meadowlands and the Garden have been canceled. That's the least of your worries. There's snow falling in the city at 3 to 4 inches per hour. And believe me, schools will be out probably much of the first half of the work week all across the northeastern corridor. I want to show you what's happening on the radar now. You can see the action moving up into Boston. We have snow falling in Boston. Southward, much heavier snowfall in Providence down into the New York City area. Again, in New York City, snow falling at the rate of 3 to 4 inches per hour. Philadelphia, incredible snowfall in the last 10 hours. About 20 inches has fallen in about a 10-hour period. Look at our snow back into Cincinnati and also around Indianapolis. Now, our rain-snow line, we're watching it very carefully. It's still around South Jersey and around Salisbury, Maryland, but earlier had been inland. Now it's right about on the coast. That tells us there's a low starting to form now around the Virginia Capes. That's going to wrap in much more in the way of moisture into the New York City area. So it looks like this system really getting wound up and really feasting on this Atlantic moisture, as that low pressure is still well south of New York City and still southeast of Washington, D.C. Jeff Morrow standing by in Washington. He's on the Mall in the Potomac River Valley. And Jeff, after a little bit of a lull, looks like a bit of a renaissance to your snow event.
Yeah, you could say that. The snow's starting to come back down here. We've got a lot of heavy, wet snowflakes starting to come down. Actually, I don't know how wet they are, but they're large. And the larger the snowflake, I guess the more moisture content, the more humidity you have to feel that is in the air. But in any event, we're getting some more accumulating snow now. It's not piling up rapidly, but we are starting to get another coating on top of the 13 or 13.5 inches that we had a little bit earlier today. There were states of emergency. I think they're still in effect for Maryland and Virginia. Of course, as you mentioned, the heavier snow now up around Philadelphia and New York and moving up into southern New England. But we're not done with this storm here yet. We still have, we think, maybe a few more inches accumulation overnight. The winds will start to pick up as the storm moves by. We'll get some blowing and drifting. And indeed, most of the Washington area shut down for tomorrow for the start of the work and school week.
All right, Jeff Morrow reporting live from the Potomac Valley. Thank you very much in Washington, D.C. Let's show you the snow that has occurred. We have a tabulation of snowfall. It's incredible, folks. We've had reports of as much as 2.5 feet in the mountain areas in western North Carolina, around Boone, North Carolina. Philadelphia now upgrading 23 inches in Philadelphia. That's at the airport. We suspect up on the main line possibilities of 2 to 2.5 feet of snow. How about Lynchburg, Virginia, Roanoke, 21 inches, Dayton, Ohio, 14. Washington now, that's downtown at National Airport where Jeff is, 13 inches, but out towards Dulles and out by Frederick and Gaithersburg, closing in on 20 inches up in Montgomery County. How about Louisville, Kentucky, 10 inches, Greensboro, North Carolina, 9 inches of snowfall in the Triad area. Want to take you live now to New York City. Our own Jill Brown standing by. And Jill, this snow is incredible. Unfortunately, there's some snow on your video as well.
Well, yes, there's a lot of snow out through here. As a matter of fact, here on the Upper West Side off Central Park where we are, it seems that things have really come to almost a standstill. We don't see much traffic out here any longer. But as I mentioned last hour, the one thing that's been kind of nice is the temperatures actually come up today, up to about 22 degrees according to the bank clock behind us here. And now we're starting to get some snow pellets. We want to show you some of the snow that's here on the bench. We actually had benches here earlier. Now we think they're still under these snowdrifts. But you can see here the kind of snow that we have, which I guess that's, we're getting close to a foot, about 9-10 inches, somewhere around there. And it continues to come down at the rate of about 2 inches per hour. Again, a few snow pellets mixed in as well. Almost everything closed, including the schools for tomorrow. If you don't need to go out tonight, the best thing to do would be just stay inside.
All right, Jill Brown, thank you very much. Again, a state of emergency in New York as well as the entire state of New Jersey. Traffic is at a standstill, and once again, if you're not expected to be out on the road, please do not venture on out. Let's show you that radar view, see what's going on. We mentioned how Washington, D.C. has seen a pickup in snow in the past hour. There's the action on the radar heading up towards Baltimore and Philadelphia. A little bit of a break over by the Pine Barrens east of Philly, but New York City and on the island especially, very, very heavy snowfall rates of 3, 4, and maybe even 5 inches per hour. Some parallels now being drawn to the blizzard of February 11th and 12th of 1983, when some of these areas saw snowfall rates of, again, 5 inches per hour. Lots of snow out the Lehigh Valley, all the way out towards Harrisburg, the Amish country, back into Washington and Baltimore, Boston as well. Snowing now, especially down towards Plymouth and Duxbury, Providence, and over by Connecticut. Very heavy snow. There's your low around the Virginia Capes. The winds have now turned northwesterly around the Tidewater area, so the rain-snow line heading back to the coast. The heaviest of snow again from Long Island out through parts of Ohio, our legacy of our storm. It is a checkered one, locally 2 to 2.5 feet in the mountains of western North Carolina, a couple of feet conservatively in the Shenandoah National Park area southwest of Washington. And once again, I'm sure some of these major interstates may be shut for a couple of days, including Interstate 81 out of Harrisburg down through Stanton, right on down into the greater Roanoke area. One more picture of the satellite vantage point. This is the upper level low back over Ohio, Indiana, northeastern Kentucky. We pointed out because until that low passes to your east, snow will stay in your forecast. The upper level picture now showing the reds and the oranges. These are higher cloud tops. Our low feasting off of the Gulf Stream moisture. That should probably wrap in to bring even more significant snowfall in New York City before it's all said and done. It could be rivaling the incredible snowfall of Christmas week of 1947. We'll have more for you, including, believe it or not, another impending snow late in the week. Right now, let's turn it back to the studio.
Well, as we just saw, some areas in the east aren't out of the woods yet.
All the big cities in the megalopolis of the Northeast got hit hard out of this one. It was February 10th and 11th, 1983. I remember it well. I remember driving from skiing in northwest Massachusetts with no new snow into a blizzard on the way home. That's always kind of disheartening when you ski without the new snow and then you have to drive through it. But there it is, southern New England, all the way down on into the Appalachian Mountains. You had some incredible instances of snow. I remember JFK Airport with 22 inches out of that one. 35 inches, the highest total at Glengarry, West Virginia. 5 inches in an hour in Allentown in Hartford. This one came in like a wall that day in 1983, and this one did today too. All-time snowfall records at Philly. Before today, Philly broke it, and Baltimore, Maryland, 22.8. Notice that Philadelphia number. They've now had 22.5 inches, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts at Chatham, Massachusetts. The big roundhouse turn of low pressure. This is today's storm, maybe more memorable. It went further south. Atlanta got a couple of inches. You had snow down to Louisiana, the jet stream going way south, and a swath of snow that whitens even the deep south. The heaviest snowfall about Washington to even down to North Carolina corridor with 2.5 feet of snow in the mountains of North Carolina and now in ski areas in West Virginia around Snowshoe. Expected totals, 20 to 24 inches Washington area, Philly already there, Philadelphia, and New York City 18 to 24, Baltimore 20.
get into the 5-day here again to show you the scope of this storm. It is a huge storm. We have snow all over the place, the entire state of Pennsylvania, on up into New England, down to the south, through Virginia and West Virginia, on into Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, even portions of Alabama, northern Mississippi picked up some snow today. And we mentioned earlier, even Atlanta, Georgia picked up some snow. But you get an idea of how huge this system is. And we've got to go through the rest of this evening, and we also have to go through the early morning hours tomorrow before the snow finally starts to taper off. So the call from AccuWeather is, yes, the snowstorm continues. Overnight low 18 degrees. Now, at times it'll start to lessen a little bit. Maybe some sleet will be mixed in, but we do expect it to just maintain itself, although it may slow from time to time, overnight through the early morning hours. For Monday and for rush hour, we expect some snow in the morning, so blizzard-like conditions could still be there for what possibly will be a rush hour in the morning if we have one at all. And then we expect it to taper off to flurries with a high of 26 degrees. And yes, we will see some sunshine come tomorrow. What a pleasant sight that will be. Sun and clouds, a mixture on Tuesday. We're getting up to 32 degrees. On Wednesday, it looks like all sunshine. We're up to 35 degrees. The normal high this time of year is 37. We'll go beyond that with increasing clouds. More clouds on Thursday, 38. And we have to post it, although we don't like to post it, but we do. The possibility of more snow on Friday, 35 degrees. Stay tuned on that one. Let's concentrate on getting through this snowstorm and getting wherever we have to go early in the morning. That's the latest, Rob.
Thank you, Dave, for joining us on this expanded edition. Let's check outside now with Cecily Tynan one more time. Is it any better out there, Cecily?
It's certainly not any warmer. The snow is still falling. It's really gotten a little bit lighter than about 5 hours ago when it was falling at the rate of 2 to 3 inches an hour. Have met some people out and about tonight actually looking for a place that's open to eat. I said go ahead and have your good luck, because it may be tough. Most of the places are closed, and there's a good reason for that. The roads are just a mess. The city line has been plowed about every 5-10 minutes, but still I've seen a lot of cars fishtailing trying to get up the hill. It's hard to tell exactly where the snow is coming from, if it's coming from the sky or if it's blowing from the trees or from the ground, because winds, as we mentioned, a 40-mile-an-hour gust, so that means the wind chills about 17 degrees below zero at the Philadelphia International Airport. Northeast Philadelphia, 18 degrees below zero. The situation will not be improving overnight. Probably not much tomorrow. The winds will still be up to about 40 miles an hour. Moving out of the northwest tomorrow, just basically shifting but really not dying down. But the snow continues falling, not quite as heavy as earlier today, but be careful. If you're heading outside, make sure you have plenty of layers on to try to cut the winds, and make sure also you have a lot of high boots, because once you step into the snow, if the snow gets in your boots, your socks get wet, and with a wind chill, it only really takes a few minutes before hypothermia can set in. So on that note, I'm saying goodbye and heading back inside. Back to you, Rob.
Okay, thanks, Cecily. This date, January 7th of 96, will eclipse the date March 13th, 1993, when we had the so-called storm of the century. They'll have to come up with a good one for this, a good title for this, the blizzard of 96. Now, finally, we want to take a look back at what has certainly been a memorable day in the Delaware Valley.
This is an Action News AccuWeather Alert.
Good morning, everyone. It is slightly after 6:30 a.m. on this Sunday, January 7th, and we have all of the information you will need as the blizzard of 96 begins to roar through the Delaware Valley.
Are you ready for this?
Sure am.
Now, we've had several snowstorms already this winter. They were all dress rehearsals. This is the big one.
Well, snow at the shore, Flora. That's not a combination that you hear too often.
I got battery-operated heated socks for Christmas from my husband.
Hey, Barbara Murphy, if you're listening, your husband wants electric socks, like in 2 hours. It's cold out.
Jump in the van and enjoy some hot Joe.
Well, you know, I guess all my complaining, some people have taken pity on me, because we have some people, you guys that were from the Adams Mark, and they have Danishes and coffee. Thank you so much. I feel much better. It's about time. Where's your hat, Mark?
They saw us out here standing in the cold, and they sent out some hot coffee and some Danish, and we want to say thank you because we're freezing.
I have the Danishes. We'll call these Accu Danishes, which I will be bringing them in, and Dave Roberts will be taking over from here.
You've got about 5.5 inches out here right now, Mr. Mark.
5.5?
5.5.
So how are you handling the situation? Your nose tends to run this weather, I know that.
Really, really picked up There we go.
Mr. Mark, that's the latest. Hold on, everybody.
Even the plows are having trouble keeping the windshields clean so they can see where they are going.
Hey, there goes that Action News van, slowly but surely up City Line.
Our biggest storm to date, 21.3 inches, February 11th and 12th, 1983. I remember it well.
I guess I'm dating myself, but I remember the blizzard of '78, and I remember climbing through a few piles that are I'm reminiscent of some of these out here.
I'm nearly losing my not only composure, but my footing here. That is quite a snowdrift.
It could be a little tricky walking, too. I happen to step down here, and there I am.
On this Sunday, January 7th, it happens to be my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Josh, if you're watching. And thank goodness we didn't have this kind of a snowstorm 8 years ago today. 22.5 inches of snow have officially fallen, probably close to 23 by now, at Philadelphia International Airport, shattering the record that stood for 13 years. That is our situation tonight. We have been on the air since 6:30 this morning. Non-stop, as we have witnessed a record-breaking snowfall in Philadelphia.
And our coverage of the blizzard doesn't stop here. Action News will be back every hour tonight, beginning at 8 o'clock with updates on the blizzard. And then at 11 o'clock, the latest from AccuWeather and everything you need to know to face Monday morning. And speaking of Monday...